Hey everyone, Chris Latimer here, and if you are building AI agents with tools like N8N or Pipedream, you'll likely need to populate a vector database eventually. And there are about 1 million ways for you to take documents and other unstructured data and turn those into vectors. And if you're not careful, you'll likely get pretty poor results when it comes time for you to search. In this video, I'm going to show you how Vectorize takes the guesswork out of this process. And you'll be able to get better results in a few minutes, and the best part is it is completely free to use. To get started, all you're going to need is a Vectorize account and a few sample documents that you're going to use to test out different vectorization strategies. So go to platform.vectorize.io if you don't already have an account, sign up for a free account, and then once you log in, you're going to land on a dashboard that looks just like the one that I'm on here. Once you're here, you're going to click right over here on New RAG Evaluation. This is where you're going to use those sample documents that I mentioned. Back here on the screen, we'll give our evaluation a name. Now, I'm going to use a few white papers of famous technologies like Kafka and Dynamo, so I'm just going to call this white papers. I'm going to grab my sample docs right here, and I'm going to drag those into the little draggable area here. You'll see these will update. Now you have a couple options in terms of how you want to run your experiment. You can either use the default settings, which will pick some OpenAI embedding models and some default reasonable chunking strategies, or you can click on custom. And custom is going to allow you to try out whatever it is that you want to try out using your database engine of choice here. I'm just going to use Pinecone for today. If I click on next, this is going to bring up this form where I can now configure my 4 different vector indexes that we're going to use. So we can select different embedding models here. We can change our retrieval settings if we want to and see how more or fewer chunks that come back from the vector database impact our scores. We can try bigger chunks, we can try smaller chunks, and we can do that across all 4 of these. Once we click on Start RAG Evaluation, what's going to happen is those documents that we uploaded are going to start off with an extraction step. So we're going to try to pull the text out of those documents. And then 2 things will happen from there. The first is we're going to populate 4 different vector indexes. So you can see right now that my screen is populating. We have vectorization plan 1, 2, 3, and 4. And these are the 4 configurations we saw on that previous screen. Those are now getting processed based on the configurations that we configured. And then down here below, we take the content of the files, we start generating synthetic questions. So we start trying to figure out what are the types of questions your users might have that these docs would be good at answering. Once we've generated these questions, then we bring these 2 things together. So we take each question, we do a retrieval. We see how good the results are that came back from the vector database for each one of these. And then we do that across the whole set of questions that we've generated. And you can see here at the end, we're going to generate a winner. We're going to assign a winner and say this is the one that overall performed best in terms of the scores that we use, which are relevancy, recall, and something called normalized discounted cumulative gain, which is more of an indication of how well your vector database returns the results as opposed to anything else. Now, you can go from here. You can say, great, I've got some data now. This isn't just gut feel anymore that I'm going to use to decide how to vectorize my data. But you don't have to take our word for it. You can come over here to the RAG Sandbox. And the RAG Sandbox is going to be a nice interactive testing tool that will give you end-to-end visibility into how your vector indexes are going to perform. And to do that, we can either take one of these questions that you see down here, which are the pre-generated questions, the synthetic questions we had. You can pick one of those. You can submit it. Down here, you'll see what came back from the vector database, how relevant the results were. Here, you'll be able to see how the LLM responds to your question and along with the context. You're free to tweak the prompt here if you want to. You can adjust the system behavior and system prompt. You can also tweak LLM settings. So you can get pretty close with this tool to figuring out how well your RAG application or your AI agent is going to perform before you ever write a line of code, before you ingest a whole ton of docs into your vector index. This is going to be a great tool. You can try different LLM models here as well. Once you're happy with the performance you're getting here in the RAG Sandbox, you're ready to move on and populate your vector database for real. To do that, you can use a RAG pipeline within Vectorize. That's going to let you take much higher quantities of data from places like Google Drive or Dropbox, or use a web crawler and scrape things off the web, or just upload a bunch of files that you have on your hard drive and process those automatically and get those into your vector database. Now I've got a much better video. I'm going to leave it right up here for you if you want to check that out. And until next time, happy building, everyone.